Well, we've got a little bit of a humidity break coming with an emphasis on little. On the other hand, you don't have to go that far away to have showers, thunderstorms, some severe weather, and flash flooding that's going on in various places around the country. And excuse me, we'll take you to all those places tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Do your shopping on Amazon using our referral link. It'll be pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the descriptor to this podcast on YouTube, right under the title. Just use the link, shop till you drop, and Amazon sends us a little bit of coin for sending you there. It doesn't cost you one extra penny out of your pocket, and it keeps the live stream here commercial free, which I know a lot of you enjoy the fact that it is commercial free. So by all means, support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by shopping on Amazon. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is on the descriptor to this podcast. Again, it's under the title on YouTube. Use the coupon code SUMMER 2025. If you do,
you'll get 10% off. Yes.
Yes.
So and we're going to get a lot more. And you and I usually agree on most things. Okay. However, as far as what we're looking at for tomorrow, I would beg to differ. I think this is actually going to be not just a little dent or a little drop in the dew point.
Oh no, it's a bit more than that. No, what I was getting at it that it's only going to last for about a day or so, and then go back up. But no, it is a decent. I'm with you on the idea that tomorrow's drop in humidity is going to be significant, especially if you cut Jersey in half and go north, where you got dew points that'll be down in the 50s. Yeah, I'm on the same page with you.
I'm looking here at the I don't even think it's hand drawn anymore. The short range weathercast, the weather maps from days 1/2 to 2.5. And they have, and if you want to believe this, they've got the entire Northeast in rain or showers by the end of the day on. And I'm talking about everywhere. I'm talking about up to Maine, down the coast through Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and especially so west through New York State and Pennsylvania, where they seem to be indicating significant rain activity. This would be for the end of the day on Saturday. I mean, I admit that
the European today threw a bit of a curveball where it suddenly decided to bring the warm front up, the front back up as a warm front a little bit faster. Now, the GFS I saw was still on the idea that it would be more like later Saturday night into Sunday morning for the warm front, and then maybe a shower or thunderstorm with the cold front later in the day. I'm still kind of on the idea that Saturday will be okay, but I want to see if this was just a little one-run hiccup by the European, or if it's something that it's got its sights on, and maybe it's going to be more correct.
I was thinking that Saturday would be still a reasonable, quote unquote, reasonable day,
right,
in terms of both overall conditions, humidity, and whatever. And then, as you just pointed out, by the time we get to Saturday night into early Sunday, in comes the rain and shower activity. And in fact, I mentioned to the president of the German club just a little while ago, inquiring about the weather for the big weekend for the fest that the club is putting on. I said, well, it's a pity that you can't have the fest Friday, Saturday, or maybe, if you will, Monday, Tuesday.
Right.
The one big clinker is going to be Sunday, and even on Sunday, there's a chance that it could start off cloudy, dreary, rainy, wet, humid, but maybe by the afternoon, we may get a little bit of a break with a return to sunshine. But again, if the sun comes out Sunday afternoon, what does that mean? That means that maybe by Sunday evening, firing up some showers and thunderstorms, especially with the next cold front knocking at our door later Sunday night. So
now the dry air mass that's going to follow that cold front looks like it has some staying power into at least the first part of Wednesday of next week.
I agree. I agree. So, if you in the overview of things, tomorrow a much much better day in terms of comfort, a much nicer day compared to all of the days that have preceded it. Saturday may be a day of deterioration. If you're doing anything out of doors, do it early in the day because by the afternoon things are going to be getting cloudy and who knows, we may even start getting wet by Saturday evening. And Sunday, just in a word, humid. Humid, uh, showers, especially early in the day, and again, maybe late in the day too, and possibly some pokes of sun during the afternoon. And then beautiful weather. Anybody of you out there? Any of you have a day off or a few days off next week? Yeah, I think you've hit pay dirt Monday, Tuesday, into at least, as Joe just said, early Wednesday. Looks to be very, very nice indeed.
Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board. Welcome to those of you watching in the background on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. And being that it's Thursday, that means that we're off tomorrow and Saturday. The only way we would be here is if the world were to come to an end weather-wise. That does not seem to be the case. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And if you like the show, hit the like button.
So before we get into the weather, can I throw something out to the chat board and maybe somebody out there, or maybe a good number of you may have some suggestions or maybe some idea of what's going on here. For the last couple of weeks, I've noticed when I'm taking the dog out in the morning, I have a long, broad lawn out in front of my house. And at the bottom end of the lawn, right at the final quarter, in the morning, I'm seeing what looks to be bees or wasps or whatever flying very low to the ground. And I'm not talking about just a few, I'm talking about maybe a couple of dozen or more swarming around, but only near the bottom of the driveway or the bottom of the lawn. The rest of the lawn, no problem. Now, I said to myself, uh oh, is there a hive or something that's been developed underneath the ground or whatever? But
And yellow jackets do that, by the
I
way.
know, I
In
know
fact,
that, but
I have a few of those here.
But the thing that I don't understand, Joe, is this. When I take the dog out again, midday or all during the course of the afternoon, I'm looking for these things flying around. They're gone. Only in the morning do I see these things swarming just above the grass. Only in the morning. Come the midday in the afternoon,
Well, is
there's
it
nothing.
possible that they're collecting a little bit of moisture off the morning dew?
I don't know.
Is it possible that they have their hard hats on and that they are, out leaving for work for their work
And
of
I
the day?
and by the way, the people Corey said a couple of times, yellow jackets. To me, they're not yellow jackets because they're yellow jackets over a certain size. These look like maybe something, maybe 1.5 to 2 times as large as the standard yellow jacket. They don't even look when they're close in or when they
They're
come close.
twice as big as the standard yellow jacket?
Yeah, I mean, a yellow jacket is about what? About an inch. These things look like an inch and a half or maybe even 2 inches. They're big.
Boy, they're super. Just must be maybe there's nuclear waste somewhere that made them that big. I don't know.
I hope
I
they're
mean,
not
we
those.
have these tiny little ones that they're really, really small. They're like maybe a quarter to a half an inch, and they come out and they sting you and they hurt like hell. Okay,
Hmm.
and the thing is, they're so small that you don't really even see them until it's too late. Uh, Boy, those sound a little, yellow jacks. The standard yellow jacks I know are probably about an inch across.
Yeah, these are I think no somewhat larger than yellow jackets, and I don't think they are yellow jackets, but they just I don't know if they're wasps or hornets or bees.
Are they
I don't.
aggressive?
They don't seem to be aggressive. They in fact the few of them that are not over the lawn, a buzz outside just outside of the lawn where I have the dog when I'm taking him for a walk. I mean they buzz on by, but they don't do anything. It's just
No.
you know.
Well,
Um,
they could be responding to the heat of the morning. Warm, temperature's starting to go up, and they're. What time in the morning are we talking about here?
oh, 9 o'clock, 9, 10
Oh
o'clock
yeah,
in the
they're
morning.
probably because if they're in their hives, if they have an underground hive, They're probably coming out and they're responding to the heat of the day and getting their wings all charged up so that they can go about their business.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
that's as good
Thanks,
an
Dennis.
explanation as I can come up with. David
Dennis has
Fuller
been
hits the tip jar, and he's probably the only one that I know of that doesn't want the dew points to go down, Joe. He said the ocean where he is in Monmouth County getting close to 80 degrees. Well, you're going to get a west wind, so that's going to mess that up. So bear that in mind. But thanks anyway for hitting the tip jar. I don't know anybody who likes to keep these dew points as high as they are. I mean, that's to me is I don't know.
There's a guy.
It doesn't
I
work
used to
for
be a
me.
W. I used to be a WOR weather watcher. This was back in the early '70s on the John Gambling show, and there was one guy. I think his name was Dave Keller, and we all thought he was nuts because Dave Keller loved hot weather. He rooted for hot weather. Whenever it got up to like 95 or 100, he was in his element, and we all thought he was crazy. But
Yeah, no,
there's some people out
that's
there who like that. Like this
yeah,
that sort of thing.
yeah, no, not me. All right, let's take a look at what's going on tonight because we do have actually a lot of weather going on uh, in, um, in parts of the Mid-Atlantic, from Virginia westward over the Ohio Valley. We have a lot of flood watches up and a lot of flash flood warnings that are up in parts of Kentucky and southern Indiana and also in southeast Ohio. That's sort of where the frontal boundary is going to settle tomorrow and over the weekend. So more rains are likely in that area. We have the tropical system that really didn't become a tropical system. Uh, Now, kind of getting pretty much the low center is pretty much getting ready to move inland or is on land inland, and we have flash flood watches across all of southern Louisiana, including New Orleans, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and Lake Charles. We have flash flood watches up for northeastern New Mexico with some flash flood warnings going on there, and they extend up into parts of southeast Colorado. And in northwest Arizona, southern Utah, and southern Nevada, including Las Vegas, we have flash flood watches up there. Severe thunderstorm watches in an area in north central Montana and also in northern New Hampshire and in Maine. There were actually a couple of tornado warnings that were issued earlier for areas in Maine. I think there was a tornado warning just outside of Holton, Maine. So it does happen up there every once in a while. And you can see where the lightning strikes are going on at the moment. They're all up in northernmost New England. They're in the middle in the Ohio Valley and extending down into the parts of the southern Appalachians. Not quite to me, though. And then we just have some scattered thunderstorms in parts of Georgia and Mississippi and also in Florida today. But you see this the concentration of clouds in Louisiana. So that's what's left of this tropical system that never really got going. There just wasn't enough. There was no room for it to get going. And frankly, the upper air setup, while the the upper air winds were light, light wind shear conditions. At least in the eastern part of the Gulf, you had this weird upper low in the western and southwest Gulf of Mexico. In fact, you could see it turning there on the Mexico side of Texas. You could see the counterclockwise rotation. It looks like a reverse letter J as it rotates around. So that just created an environment that really was not ideal for the kind of strong outflow conditions that you need to get a tropical cyclone going. But you are getting some monsoonal moisture that's moving up into New Mexico and Colorado, as well as Arizona and Utah and Nevada, and you see those lightning strikes over there. Joe, the weather front is still to the northwest, judging from where the clouds are this evening. But that's going to get through sometime overnight, and by tomorrow morning, much of the Northeast and Northern Mid-Atlantic will have their dew points cut down to reasonable levels.
Yes, in fact, I had mentioned to Renata, we've had the air conditioning running almost nonstop, as I'm sure many of you, air conditioners and fans, have been going nonstop through this entire siege of heat and humidity. Not so much heat in recent days. Well, yeah, the last couple of days have been hot, but sometimes it's just the humidity. And I said we won't be able to do it tonight, but I think tomorrow night Tomorrow afternoon, we'll be able to turn the air conditioning, give it a rest for a little while, let the drier, less humid air in. And in fact, tomorrow night, I think temperatures tomorrow night, Joe, across the lower Hudson Valley are going to range widely from maybe the low 50s in those sheltered valley spots, rural valley areas, especially areas north of Interstate 84, to about 65 along the coastal areas and also the urban areas like Yonkers, New Rochelle, Mamaroneck. Where I am, that would seem to suggest that we could drop into the upper 50s, which would be delightful come Saturday morning. We've had low temperatures over again the last week or 10 days, hovering in the upper 60s and lower 70s. So this will be a nice little break. But unfortunately, it looks like things are going to be turning around during the latter part of the day on Saturday, and we will be back in the thick of things, literally and figuratively, on Sunday in terms of humidity and in terms of the threat of showers and maybe even a few thunderstorms.
By the way, Crescendopedia on the chat board says minor bees, Miner.
Well,
Solitary.
I found something on the internet, and when we're finished with the weather, before the
Okay.
end of the show, I'll let everybody in on what this supposedly is.
Right. Well, she says minor bees, solitary, harmless, non-aggressive, non-territorial, though it may be late in the year for them. They go away in a few weeks. They like soft, sandy soil, and they're cicada killers. So there you go. All right,
Right.
radar tonight. Didn't have much of anything as far as thunderstorms this evening, and never really extended farther south than I-90. You can see where they all are. They're moving through. There's a line moving through Vermont. You had some strong thunderstorms there up in northern Maine with a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. And it's actually on the Canada side of the St. Lawrence River that you're seeing quite a bit of shower and thunderstorm and heavy rain activity. Meanwhile, across the Ohio Valley, southern Illinois, east into West Virginia, we have a slew of flash flood warnings and some severe thunderstorm warnings in the mix there. Also, some severe thunderstorm warnings that just expired in central North Carolina, and a flash flood warning that's still up just west of Raleigh, Durham. And we have some showers and thunderstorms running their way through in West Virginia. In Louisiana, with that tropical low, you can kind of see the curvature of the bands. Again, very little on the east side. You have, all the convection seems to be to the west of the low center, which, as I said, is probably inland now. We have some patchy showers and a couple of thunderstorms in parts of South Florida. Meanwhile, in New Mexico, a lot of flash flood warnings up in that state as we keep getting showery rains and thunderstorms in bands moving from south to north, particularly in the northern part of the state along I-25. And then you go into Arizona, where you're seeing on the Arizona side of the Nevada state line is where you're seeing downpours and some thunderstorms with a couple of flash flood warnings on the Utah side and a severe thunderstorm warning on the Nevada Arizona side, and then you've got this stuff in northernmost Montana throwing off a few severe thunderstorms there. The Storm Prediction Center, two working severe thunderstorm watches. We've got the one that's up in Maine and New Hampshire that's getting whittled away, and then you've got a second one that's up in north central Montana. The stuff that's going on in the Ohio Valley is embedded in an area of marginal risk. So is the stuff that you see back in Colorado and in northeastern New Mexico. Otherwise, it's just sort of general thunderstorm risk there. For tomorrow, we have a marginal risk in Virginia and northeastern North Carolina, also from Iowa and Minnesota west across parts of South Dakota, Nebraska into Wyoming. And there's a small 2% tornado risk in the zone that's in South Dakota. Moving along to the day three, which is Saturday into Sunday, we have a slight risk across Iowa and Illinois into Indiana, with the marginal risk that goes back up into the northwestern plains. In the northeast, it's just general thunder. They got the general thunderstorm line here. This is from 12Z Saturday to 12Z Sunday. They have the general thunderstorm line, and I assume it's because of whatever they think is going to happen either late in the day or maybe at night. but the cutoff line runs. You see it there, Joe. It cuts off in eastern New England, so they've got it, pretty far to the north there.
Yeah, I think that again the big question is how quickly will the clouds and precipitation on Saturday advance into the immediate tri-state area. If we're lucky, we'll be able to hold off on all of that until at least after dark. But it looks like whatever we are going to see in terms of relief, albeit temporary, will be with us tomorrow into tomorrow night and through a good part, I think, of Saturday, and then later Saturday into Saturday night and on to maybe at least the first half of the day on Sunday. Look for a return to clouds, humidity, and the threat also of some showers.
WPC's not showing much precip though. They've got basically a tenth to a quarter of an inch throughout much of the Northeast and northern Mid-Atlantic, in Virginia and points west into Kentucky and West Virginia, southern Ohio and Indiana, and then through Illinois and Iowa. You've got an area of an inch and a half to 2.5 inches, and of course, as we all know, being that it's convection, some areas could locally get 50% of higher amounts, even 100%, even 200% higher amounts. Also along the Gulf Coast, an inch and a half plus amounts from northern Florida back into southern Louisiana till this tropical system kind of plays itself out. Eventually, some of that moisture is going to wind up lifting northward. You've got anywhere from a tenth of an inch to some areas of a half to 3/4 of an inch up and down the Rockies from north to south, and not much going on in the west. So this is the European for today, which again, it tried to fire up some stuff in New Jersey, and it just didn't happen. So we've got nice northerly isobars. Maybe even gets a little bit breezy tonight with the northwest wind, and you see that all kind of pushes that drier air southward. You see some showers and storms there in Ohio and Kentucky. They are getting suppressed to the south for at least for Friday, and then they weaken at night only to fire up again. But this is where the European, Joe, starts to fire up some showers and even a couple of thunderstorms over the Delmarva Peninsula Saturday morning, and then just kind of drags them northward. Doesn't really do much with them. It kind of drags them northward. And, it sort of looked to me like, I kept thinking about this as being sort of a warm front that was going to try to come through Saturday night with showers maybe in upstate New York and in Pennsylvania. The European doesn't have anything for Saturday night. It just has a little bit of shower activity in southeast New England. It's got showers in western Pennsylvania. And then it's got this cold front that comes through during the day on Sunday with showers in the morning until midday. And then weather conditions improve after that. So it's just a little bit of a different look as far as how it's playing out. And then, of course, you've got this next high coming down for Monday and Tuesday with real genuine relief that's going to last more than just 24 hours. If we look at the dew points for early next week, so you can see the green, anything that's in green, even the lightest color green, the dew points in the 50s. So by Monday morning, it's just coming in, and then it just continues to filter southward. Even gets dew points by Tuesday morning down into the 40s in inland areas. And those 50 dew points hold. We get into Wednesday morning, then they start to come up during the day on Wednesday. So
Right.
this to me suggests, certainly Monday and Tuesday are going to be two very nice days. And sometimes the models like to pull the dry air out too fast. And then as far as this for tomorrow, I'm just taking a look here. There's the dry push for tomorrow. The borderline gets down to southern New Jersey, but you do see 50 dew points there in northern New Jersey by midday, and then they kind of creep back up. It's still in the 50s when we get into Saturday morning, and then they start to creep up. By the Saturday afternoon, if the European's right, Joe, it's got a 70 dew point in northern New Jersey.
Yeah. See, that's the push of and you talk about overrunning. And a lot of times, Joe, as well as I, over the years, the models have a very tough time, especially in the winter season, in handling a significant overrunning event. They usually are a few hours behind.
Yeah.
So if this is going to be a pattern of a return flow or a push of of humid air in here. We may very well see the sun fade out quickly in the afternoon on Saturday, followed by again a push of moist air, showers, and scattered thunderstorms.
And you look at the GFS, it just basically suppresses everything to the south on Saturday, and it's dry even through Saturday night. You start to get maybe into some showers and thunderstorms during the day on Sunday, and and it takes longer for the cold front to come through. But they all get to the same place for Monday and Tuesday with this nice little high coming down, and a really decent shot of dry air that I think the GFS probably holds on to it a little bit longer than the European does before we get the humidity to come back maybe late Wednesday or Wednesday night. But either way, I mean, I still think, the weekend still, you know, the European has been the far better model for the last few months. Um, so it's hard for me to not want to go down that road. I want to just see what the icon is doing, just to see just to get a little bit of a different opinion here. So the icon mostly suppresses the rain to the south on Saturday, and it doesn't really bring anything until you get into late Sunday when the cold front goes by, and even that, there's not a whole lot with it. I don't know. I don't want to go. I don't really want to go overboard at this time with regards to how much shower activity is going to occur, because if you look at what the models are not exactly screaming. It's not by any means going to be a washout if it does rain. Clearly, but the models certainly aren't screaming on the idea that there's going to be rain coming in during the day on Saturday.
I'm just looking here. There's something I have no idea what this. Renata is just. Oh, I see what she's doing. All right.
So, what did you find out about?
She printed something. It didn't come over on her printer. It came over on my printer that's right next to me here, and about something she has to purchase for her upcoming event this weekend.
So, what's the deal with you find on the bees?
Yeah, well, what I found on the internet. This is a I'm not sure if this is Wikipedia or if it is artificial intelligence overview, whatever. It says if you're noticing wasp-like insects buzzing low over your lawn in the morning, but disappearing by midday, it's very likely that you're observing scolid or solid wasps, also known as digger wasps.
Ah,
These type of wasps are known for flying or hovering low over lawns, particularly in the morning into the early afternoon as temperatures are warm but not hot or excessively hot. And they certainly have been excessively hot the last 2 days. That's probably why you don't see them by midday around here. They're actually they're actively searching for beetle grubs that live underground in the soil. As the day heats up, they'll become less active and retreat to their nest or seek shelter from the sun, explaining their absence by midday. They're described as being about 5/8 of an inch long, with a blue-black body, blackish-purple wings, two distinct yellow stripes on the side of their abdomen. They have a somewhat hairy body. Now these things, I've never really gotten close to get a good close look. They don't come up to you and hover. They zip by, but they have a hairy body, particularly on the rear of the abdomen where it's covered in reddish hairs. They are solitary. They're ground nesting, meaning that they build their nests in the soil. They will dig into the ground or follow tunnels made by grubs to find a host for their eggs. They are considered beneficial. Why is it that whenever you see something that looks very scary, and they say, don't kill them, they're beneficial. They're beneficial because their larvae are parasitic on beetle grubs, including those of Japanese beetles. The female wasp stings the grub to paralyze it. Unlike some other wasp species, scolid wasps are not aggressive toward humans and are unlikely to attack unless the nest is directly disturbed. And I'm thinking about being on my tractor mower,
yeah.
like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, going over that part of the lawn and going over the nest, which I don't even know where they are, where it is, or whatever. So, it's
All right,
always
let's
something. Isn't it?
Yeah, let's do Briller Jeopardy and wrap it up for tonight. So it's average highs in July. We will start with San Francisco
San Francisco, 70,
or
70.
Sam Francesca.
San Francesca. How about 76?
Yeah, as well. See again, San Francisco is one of those places that you literally the temperature could be 15 degrees difference from one side of town to the other. So um, that number you quoted is too high, and but again,
You
it's
know,
San
they,
Francisco, so I don't know if it's the airport, if it's inland, but the number that we have here, um, well, James Davison, you're close, and so is CWTR Shark at 68, so you're closer. Um, Trying to see everybody else. If you're in the 70s, you're too high, just so you know.
hmm,
If you're in the 70s, you're too high. Mike Waterhouse Bonsai at 65 is just under it. David Fuller, 66. 66, Joe. 66 WNBC.
when the Giants, the San Francisco Giants, played at Candlestick Park, they played literally right near the bay, San Francisco Bay,
Oh, you need a
and
toast.
and at night it was I never experienced it for myself, but people said they, as you just said, Joe, they had to bring a coat. And
Yeah.
in fact,
I
they even had a night where they were giving away, as a giveaway, they were giving away a cross called the La Cruz of Candlestick, the cross of Candlestick,
right.
which signified that you actually sat in your seat to watch a baseball game in July at night when the temperatures were like in the 50s with a
Yeah, and
wind
it's a
blowing
cold,
away.
raw wind that comes off. I was in San Francisco many, many years ago in late July, and it got down to the low 50s with drizzle at night. It was cold. But 66 is the average high. How about Seattle?
Seattle's a different animal, I think, than San Francisco. I mean, they're practically on the coastline. I'll say 70. Well, you said 66 WNBC for San Francisco. I'll say 77 WABC degrees.
I was kind of
Yeah.
hoping you would use that logic. I was kind of hoping you'd use that logic because that is the correct answer.
Oh,
77. Tom, it
ring
was
a
such a
dingy
long
dingy
time
dong.
ago. I don't know if I went to the Castro district. I really don't. I was 19 years old at the time, so I don't remember. Um, 77. I did go to Fisherman's Wharf. I remember that. 77 for Seattle. Next is Virginia Beach.
Well, Virginia Beach on the other on the right hand coast. I would uh, I would say for Virginia Beach 86.
Too low. Craig Carlberg nails it though. 89.
Wow.
89 for Virginia Beach. All right, just let's go a little further south from Virginia Beach to another beach, Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach.
How about 91?
That's a little too high for Myrtle Beach, Joe. Just a shade too
Really?
high.
Oh,
Croce and Fuller say 88. So does Richard Bond and Rich Rothmansky and Latex Dreams, and they're all wrong. Uh, Trying to see if anybody is going to get this one. 86, Steve Lapointe is close, but Matthew Werman, 87. 87 for Matthew Werman. That's what it is, 87. And Cape Hatteras, North Carolina.
well, so Virginia Beach was what? 89,
Right. Myrtle
87.
Beach. Myrtle Beach was 87.
Well, it's got to be somewhere in that same vicinity then. Why don't I just say News Radio
Now
88?
remember, just remember that Hatteras has water on both sides of it.
Yeah. All right. So should I knock it down to like 83?
Um, you could knock it down to 83 if you'd like. Well, Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, Mike Waterhouse Bonsai got it. 85. 85.
All right. So I'm
But
basically,
you know, you're playing. Your brain is functioning in the right direction, I would say. Um, and finally, for the bonus, Barrow, Alaska.
oh, give me a break. Where is that? Like latitude 78 degrees
Right.
north? Or
It's been renamed. I don't think they call it Barrow anymore. Yeah, it's right on the North Slope there. So Barrow, Alaska.
48?
Boy, that's a very good guess. That is a very, very good guess. You don't realize how close you are. Nor does Harold Olson realize how close he is when he said 46. So the answer is Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, 47. 47. And thanks to the chairman for doing this on a nightly basis. We certainly appreciate it. And I think we're done. Um, I'm kind of fading tonight. I don't know, for some reason I'm a little tired. I'm not sure why. I didn't really do a lot today. But for some reason, I must say though, I had some South Carolina peaches that I bought last week at the farmer's market. And oh, this peach that I got, it was unbelievable. I haven't had a peach as good as this in a long, long time. It was red inside and juicy, almost looked like wine was in there. It was so absolutely delicious. And I have a second one that I'm going to have right after the show is done and we say goodnight. So that
All
is
right.
that's the extent of what I'm going to do tonight before I go to bed. So there you go. All right.
Okay. So we'll be
All
back
right.
on Sunday. Hey, by Sunday, we'll certainly know the answer to what's going to
Saturday.
happen Saturday,
Yeah,
Saturday late, Saturday night.
exactly. All right. So we'll see everybody on Sunday. So enjoy the next 2 days off, Mr. Rayo. Have fun at the German Fest. And for everybody else, have fun on your Friday and for your weekend. And we'll see you Sunday night at 7:35 p.m. Night, night.
Good night, folks.